Reeves Immigration Law Group now brings you immigration law on your side.
Magandang gabi mga kababayan. Ito po si Kuya Yo sa PHLV Radio Studios from Las Vegas. Siyempre ngayong gabi kasama natin si Attorney Diza sa isa na namang edition ng ating Immigration Law on Your Side dito po sa PHLV Radio. Hatid po sa atin ng Reeves Immigration Law Group. Maraming salamat po. As you know mga kababayan, President Joe Biden is now on his first week. Wednesday ngayon mga kababayan, at naaalala nyong last week ay ang inauguration. And he has issued several executive orders in his first few days in office. And some of them mga kababayan pertains to immigration. Mga bago and a lot of proposals, especially with regards to the comprehensive immigration reform. Kaya to walk us through all these mga bago at mga exciting developments sa immigration, i-welcome na po natin ang ating kaibigang si Attorney Javier Diza sa ating Immigration Law on Your Side. Magandang gabi po, Attorney Diza.
Magandang gabi, Kuya Yo, at babatiin ko na rin yung ating mga listeners and viewers ng PHLV Radio and Immigration Law on Your Side. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat at maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig at panonood. At tama ka, Kuya Yo, parang kailan lang, isang linggo na rin pala, mula nung nagkaroon tayo ng inauguration ng bagong Pangulo, ng President Joe Biden. At tama ka, in fact, hindi lang yung first day niya in office, he already executed several executive orders, kasama po dyan at marami po dyan ang immigration na pag-uusapan natin ngayon. At hindi lang po mga executive orders, mayroon din po siyang proposal ng Comprehensive Immigration Reform or Citizenship Act of 2021 na finorward po sa Kongreso para sa kanilang konsiderasyon.
Aha. So dito po, attorney, sa mainit na usaping mga executive orders muna tayo ng ating Pangulong Biden. Ano po ang mga ilan sa mga executive orders na ito na magandang pag-usapan at pwedeng i-headline natin? Mukhang ang DACA at iba pa ang pagle-lift ng ban sa ibang mga Muslim countries na makapasok sa Amerika. Ano po ba, attorney, ang top of mind natin?
Yes, at siyempre nung bago ma-elect si Biden, pag-usapan din natin dito sa PHLV Radio anong yung mga proposal niya, right? Anong mga immigration policies niya pag siya nanalo. At as we mentioned, he kept his promise. Isa dyan ay yung executive order niya regarding DACA, yung Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Ibig sabihin po niya, naging subject po yan ng litigation ng panahon ni President Trump, where some courts declared it unconstitutional. Some courts upheld the validity until nakarating sa Supreme Court. I think September of last year, where the Supreme Court said unconstitutional po yung pag-terminate ni President Trump ng DACA. In fact, hindi sinasabi ng Supreme Court na valid ang DACA or invalid. Ang sinasabi lang niya, the manner of termination was not in accordance with the law. So kung si President Trump ang nanalo, there is a possibility na pwede pa niyang gawin ulit at i-terminate. But under Joe Biden's administration, Kuya Yo, he made sure that DACA would still be in place. So lahat ng mga taong nandito before 2007 at 5 years after that, 2012, physical presence up for 5 years after 2007, below 16 nung dumating sila at below 32 nung sila nag-a-apply at sila ay nasa school o nag-aaral at walang serious criminal conviction, they can apply for a 2-year deferred action at makakuha ng work authorization. So ang kinaganda pa nitong executive order, Kuya Yo, sa original na DACA ni President Obama, pwede sila mag-apply, aside from the work authorization, pwede rin mag-apply ng advance parole, right, para makapag-travel sila while on DACA. And during President Trump, hindi nila na-approve yung mga advance parole na yan. But now, with the confirmation ng executive order on DACA, pwede na po silang mag-apply ng advance parole. So ito yung isa sa mga magandang executive order ng ating Pangulo, confirming ng DACA, and hopefully, pag naipasa niya ang kanyang comprehensive immigration reform, Kuya Yo, at itong mga DACA na to ay may path to a green card and eventually citizenship. So aside from the DACA, nabanggit mo rin yung travel ng Muslim ban, na mayroong mga executive orders ng dating Pangulong Trump. Tatlo yun, ano? So, may mga certain countries siyang binabaan, Muslim-dominated countries, but because there are many immigration advocates who think that these executive orders are unconstitutional, they brought the case to the court. Ano? 2 beses na nullify ng korte ang kanyang executive order, but eventually, President Trump and his administration learned the lesson. Gumawa ulit sila ng another executive order on travel ban, yung tinatawag natin number 3, at ito'y naging constitutional niya. So, with the Biden administration, kuya yun, nilift yung travel ban for Muslim-dominated countries. So, that's also a good news. And aside from that, of course, kasama din yung pag-build ng wall. During President Trump, he promised to build the wall and let Mexico pay for it. But unfortunately, kuya yo, it's the U.S. taxpayers paying for the wall. So isa rin dyan sa mga executive order ng Pangulong Biden to stop the building of the wall. Importantly, also, kuya yo, na executive order niya ay yung posing ng deportation of yung mga immigrants o no, yung mga may mga kaso sa immigration court. So ang sinasabi ni Pangulong Biden is wag muna tayong mag-deport for 100 days. So isa sa mga executive order niyan. But ngayong araw na to, nagkaroon ng injunction ng district court in Texas, right? The state of Texas filed a lawsuit against the administration saying that the executive order is unconstitutional. So there is a temporary injunction. So tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang pag-deport until such time a final court order would make a decision. So ito yung mga 4 na importanteng executive order na ating Pangulo at marami pa tayong aabangan, Kuya Yo, whether the new administration or President Biden will further execute or issue another executive order, or probably courts will enjoin or stop the implementation of his executive orders. So tuloy-tuloy po ang ating discussion at pag-uusap at pag-update sa ating mga kababayan regarding these executive orders.
Marami talaga mga updates with the new administration, of course. Kaya mga kaibigan, manatiling nakatutok sa immigration law on your side dito po sa PHLV Radio, dahil po si Attorney Diza ay talaga namang ina-update tayo ng lahat ng mga tungkol sa immigration. Isa sa mga naitanong sa atin dito, Attorney, nung nanumpa na nga itong si Pangulong Biden is yung regarding sa temporary restriction ba na hindi makakapasok sa Amerika itong temporary immigration entry nung supposedly matatapos nung the 31st of December, and I believe it was extended. Ano po ang update dito, Attorney?
The restriction is still in place, Kuya Yo. If you remember, mid of last year nagkaroon ng suspension ng entry of immigrants, kasama dyan yung mga non-immigrants. So yung mga nagpe-petition ng mga family members, mga anak, asawa, magulang, tuloy-tuloy yung pag-process, pero yung pag-interview sa embassy kasi due to pandemic, right? So na-stop yan at na-stop din yung pagpunta nila dito. So except for siyempre asawa ka ng US citizen or anak mo ay minor pa lang, or right, or you're coming here to be a healthcare worker, so exempted po kayo. So yung restriction na yan is still in place, Kuya Yo, until March 31, wala pang lifting niyaan. Just because also of the restrictions sa mga embassies worldwide, sa mga bansa, may mga sarili silang batas, in order to avoid yung pagdami ng COVID, mga COVID pagkakasakit, right? So that's one of the reasons why the president has not lifted the suspension of the entry of immigrants at this time. So we keep on checking the USCIS website and Department of State kung kailan po malilift to, but until this time, Kuya Yo, that suspension is still in place.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of travel, nabalita natin, attorney, this week na all those coming in to the United States are now required to have a negative COVID test. So medyo isa ito sa mga bagong patakaran. So mga kababayan, manatiling nakatutok po ngayon sa immigration law on your side. Marami pa kami pag-uusapan ni attorney, mga executive orders pa siguro na pwede pang mabanggit ni attorney, pero more importantly, ang mga itinanong nyo mga kaibigan regarding sa comprehensive immigration reform proposal ng Pangulong Biden. Ano-ano po ba ang nakapalaman dito sa comprehensive immigration reform proposal ng Pangulong Biden? Pag-uusapan po natin yan sa pagbabalik po ng immigration law on your side. We'll remind you first how to contact our friends at Reeves Immigration Law Group. May opisina po sila dyan sa California, dyan po sa Makati, sa mga nakikinig sa atin sa Pilipinas. Meron silang opisina at narito po ang detalye.
Reeves Immigration Law Group has been representing immigrants for nearly 40 years. Reeves Immigration Law Group has been fighting for its clients through experience and expertise. With immigration lawyers you can access at reasonable fees, even on Saturday. Payment plans are also available. Call us for your immigration solutions. We can do worldwide telephone and Skype consultations. Reeves Immigration Law Group, 1-800-795-8009. Reeves Immigration Law Group has offices in Los Angeles, San Francisco, China, and Philippines. See us at www.rreeves.com. Reeves Immigration Law Group, 1-800-795-8009.
Mga kaibigan, nagbabalik po ang Immigration Law on your side dito po sa PHLV Radio. Hatid po sa atin ang ating mga kaibigan sa Reeves Immigration Law Group. At napapanood nyo po via Zoom, galing po sa Bay Area, si Attorney Flomi Javier Diza. And sa mga late tuners natin, pinag-uusapan po natin ngayon ang mga executive orders na ipinalabas ng ating bagong Pangulo simula po last week, and ang iba pang mga proposals ng ating bagong Pangulo. Attorney, bago po tayo tumawid dito sa ating comprehensive immigration reform proposal ng ating bagong Pangulo, meron pa po bang ibang mga executive orders na gusto nyo mabanggit sa ating mga listeners?
Basically, yun yung pinaka-major na executive orders na ating Pangulo, Kuya Yo, at mabanggit na rin natin yung pinag-usapan natin yung travel, nabanggit natin na kailangan ng COVID test result, na kailangan negative bago makapag-travel sa US. And I think that's really very important kasi bago umalis si President Trump, nilift niya yung ban ng mga travel from Europe, UK, Europe, sinasabi niya nilift niyan, but nireverse yun ni President Trump, and it becomes more stricter now when it comes traveling to the US. And I think kailangan natin yung Kuya Yo to stop ng spread ng virus. And in fact, sa Pilipinas nga lang, medyo naging stricto rin sila. If in the past, kailangan magkaroon sila ng quarantine, right, the hotel of their own choice. Recently, I think they're required to mandatorily quarantine in a hotel provided by the government for 14 days. So pagdating nyo sa Pilipinas, 14 days po kayo nasa hotel at hindi pwedeng lumabas. So it's really, in other countries, if you think of it and if you look at it, they're stricter. Sa Pilipinas na lang. And even in Canada, Kuya Yo, ganun din. Kasi one of my brother-in-laws traveled here and went back. They are not required, they are not allowed to go out for 14 days. Then sa bahay sila quarantine. In fact, may bumibisita sa kanila kung sila lumalabas, at yung mga groceries, they have to have someone else to go and pick up the groceries, or kailangan magpa-deliver sila in person. So I think those are essential and very important measures by the new administration para ma-prevent po natin ng pag-spread ng COVID, lalong-lalo na mayroon ng sinasawag na variations ng COVID na to. So yun po ang mga advice natin. Just keep in mind, if you plan to travel, outside the US or coming to the US, make sure to update kung ano po yung mga bagong restrictions.
Correct. Kaya mga kaibigan, dito sa Immigration Law on your side, iniisa-isa po natin yan para po naman maayos ang inyong mga pagbabiyahe. Well, tawid tayo, attorney, dito sa pinag-uusapan nating comprehensive immigration reform proposal ng ating bagong Pangulo. Mga kaibigan, on the very first day of office, the President Biden ay kanya nang isinumite ang kanyang mga proposals under the comprehensive immigration reform mga proposals niya. Ang tawag dito ay the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. if these were to become laws, ito ang magiging pinakamalaki o kaya pinakamalaking overhaul sa US immigration system in decades. Attorney, ano po ba ang mga nakapalaman ng mga proposal ng bagong Pangulo dito sa comprehensive immigration reform na ito?
Tama ka, Kuya Yo, at malaki ito at inaabangan ng marami. At reminder lang natin sa ating mga viewers, Kuya Yo, at listener, ito ay proposal. I mean, immediately after President Biden issued this proposal, we were bombarded with many inquiries and calls. At attorney, eligible ako dito, gawin na natin, keep in mind these are proposals, and not until it becomes a law, right? Until it becomes a law, inapprove po ng Kongreso yan, right? Or magkaroon ng another executive order, hindi pa yun na-implement, right? It's a very helpful and very informative, and it's going to be a big immigration reform kung ito ipapasa. And we all know na ang Senate po natin, US Senate, ay now 50 sa kanila Democrats at 50 sa kanila ay Republican. So in case of tie, ang magbe-break ng tie ay another Democrat, si Vice President Kamala Harris. So we are kind of confident, but in a way, may mga conservative Democrats din that that they might tinatawag ng filibuster na kahit magkaroon ng batas at pagbobotohan yan. So hopefully may pasa po ito, At maganda ho ito kasi pathway to citizenship na mga almost 12 million, 11 million undocumented or out of status nating mga kababayan. Marami sa ating mga Pilipino wala ring status, wala ring papel, naghihintay ng immigration reform, right? So and again, not until this becomes a law, saka natin pag-usapan, but it's very promising. Ang kanilang qualifications hindi mahirap gampanan. Ang sinasabi lang dito is nandito po kayo sa US on or before January 1 of 2021. So parang this year lang, paying your taxes, and also no serious criminal conviction. And you will be given a kind of legal status, and you will be able to apply for a green card in 5 years and apply for naturalization or citizenship in 3 years, a total of 8 years. So it's really very promising kung tutingnan mo, but I'm not being pessimist, right? This is what I tell clients. There are many conservative, most likely all Republicans will vote against it. And there might be some Democrats who are not willing to agree, with this kind of proposal. Although we are hoping na ipapasa, there might be some variations, or pagbabago nito, may other qualifications. So it's really important for us to watch out kung ano talaga yung nilalaman ng comprehensive immigration reform na to. Now, the last one that was passed, Kuya, yung panahon ni Ronald Reagan, where I think in 1987, he was saying na lahat na nandito before 1982. So may gap yun na 5 years, di ba? Para hindi magiging, hindi maraming mga taong pupunta dito at magkaroon ng, mag-avail ng immigration reform na yan. So during his term, it's kind of like 5 years. Pero this time, parang, wala pang isang buwan, right? Which is January 1 of 2021. So we're going to watch out for it, and hopefully, if this is passed, many people will be eligible. Of course, there might be some conditions like paying your taxes, certain family ties, and also no serious criminal convictions. So that is a very important proposal, Kuya Yo, and hopefully mabigyan ng some kind of legal status yung mga kababayan natin na tago ng tago for a long period of time. Kasi kung bibigyan naman natin sila, Kuya Yo, ng Social Security and Work Authorization, I am in agreement na lalo silang makakatulong at syempre lalo silang, mayroon silang Social Security at makapag-apply ng trabaho at magbayad ng tamang tax, hindi yung nag-under the table, right? At hindi na i-report ang kanilang taxes. So this is going to be very important. So aside from that, siyempre yung mga dreamers na yung DACA na pinag-uusapan natin, bibigyan din daw sila ng citizenship or eligible na sila mag-file ng green card. So this is a good news din dahil as we all know, ang DACA during President tawag nito, Obama, this is only for deferral ng kanilang removal or deportation, at binibigyan sila ng work authorization until panahon ni President Trump. But at this time, Kuya Yo, it looks like we're going to see a light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully these dreamers would be able to apply for green card and hopefully eventually become a U.S. citizen. So ito yung mga sa mga importanteng provisions ng Pangulong Biden with regard to the Comprehensive Immigration Reform or the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Marami attorney yung nagtanong sa atin, especially in the face of this pandemic, nagkaroon ng maraming backlogs. Yung dati nang may mga interview ay syempre naka-cancel muna at medyo masyadong humahaba ang backlog. Ano po ba ang proposal ng ating bagong Pangulo regarding this mga backlogs para medyo maiwasan ito o kaya makadikit naman at medyo bumilis-bilis ng konti?
Yes, President Biden's also would try to reduce yung waiting backlog ng family-based and employment-based. So that's why during our previous conversation, pinag-usapan natin yung visa bulletin, Kuya Yo, at yung waiting time for married children from the Philippines is about 18 to 20 years. Simply petition like 20 to 23 years. Even yung mga unmarried children over 21, Kuya Yo, yun ang waiting time sa 10 taon lang. And also mga employment-based cases, right? Yung mga registered nurses or professionals, if you're petitioning them to come here on a green card, umaabot ng mga 2 hanggang 5 taon na waiting time. So that's what they're trying to reduce yung backlog, Kuya Yo. And hopefully, everything gets back to normal without, considering the pandemic and everything. Pag bumalik na tayo sa normal at bumalik na yung mga interview process natin, procedure natin, kung ma-reduce ang backlog ito, mas madami ang mga parating dito, and hopefully, sa mga proposal nila would be for those people waiting for their priority date to become available, pwede silang pumunta dito at dito na maghintay yung kanilang priority date, and while waiting, Kuya Yo, they are being reunited sa kanilang family and hopefully be able to get work authorization as well.
Mm-hmm. Magandang balita pala ito, attorney. Pero mga kaibigan, we're just reminding you that these are proposals, okay? Itong pinag-uusapan namin ni Attorney Diza. And makakaasa po kayo na anuman ang mangyari dito sa mga proposals na ito ay malalaman ninyo dito po sa Immigration Law on Your Side. Isa po sa mga nabanggit sa atin ng ibang mga listeners natin, yung napag-usapan natin a few episodes ago, itong 3-year or 10-year bar pag ikaw ay nagkaroon ng unlawful presence dito sa Amerika. I believe there was a proposal by by President Biden regarding this, attorney.
Yes, Kuya Yo. Yung batas kasi ngayon, existing law, Kuya Yo, if you come to the US and violate your status, let's say, and then you overstay your visa for over 6 months at you depart the US, ibig sabihin, bumalik po kayo sa home country ninyo, right? Umuwi kayo sa Pilipinas and you've been here for over 6 months na nag-expire na yung entry nyo, yung I-94, you're subjected to tinatawag natin 3-year bar. So hindi kayo makakabalik dito in 3 years. Now, if you overstayed your visa for over a year, right? And you departed, ibig sabihin umuwi ka sa Pilipinas, kahit multiple entry po yung visa po ninyo at valid pa yan for another, 8 to 10 more years, hindi na kayo makakabalik because you are barred for 10 years because of you overstayed in the United States. So they're trying to eliminate that as well, Kuya Yo, para yung mga taong umuwi sa Pilipinas, right, at doon na lang hintayin ang kanilang visa, instead of waiting for 10 years, i-eliminate daw yan. Hopefully, kung mayroon silang petition from a family member, instead of waiting for that 10 years, they be able to reunite with their family right away.
Mm-hmm. In other words, objective nito is yung ma-unify o mapag-isa ang mga pamilya.
Yes, maso-shorten yung separation, Kuya Yo, ng family. Instead of waiting for 10 years, there's also a waiver for that, lalo na kung they're married to U.S. citizen, at although they have to prove extreme hardship sa kanilang family member, right? So instead of filing for that waiver and having that risk of getting denied dahil walang extreme hardship, then this elimination of the 3 and 10-year bar would definitely help a lot of ating mga kababayan to be reunited with their family in the United States right away.
So we will update you mga kababayan whatever happens to this proposal. Attorney, ito namang mga nag-a-apply for work like yung H-1B, they bring their family here and yung kanilang mga asawa ay nagiging eligible na ba for work authorization, or is that I believe now it is, and is it a proposal that the eligible children will not age out?
Yes, that's a good proposal, Kuya Yo. And again, this is only proposal. Whether it will be passed by Congress remains to be seen. It's a very interesting suggestion and proposal, Kuya Yo, kasi as we mentioned during our last previous episodes, we discussed about Child Status Protection Act, di ba? So once the child turns 21, he's no longer considered as a child. But for purposes of the H-1B proposal, Kuya Yo, as long as they are able to enter the United States dito, hindi nag-age out ang mga bata, and they be able to get work authorization para maging productive naman sila habang nasa US sila. That also includes, of course, yung kanilang spouse, kasi the current law is that yung mga H-4 dependents, ito yung tawag sa mga asawa at mga anak ng H-1Bs, they are able to file for a work authorization kung may nakapending na silang yung kanilang H-1B spouse, may nakapending na silang petition ng green card, right? So hopefully with this administration, it will help the spouse and other dependents, including children, to be able to get a work authorization para maging productive sila while in the United States.
Napakaraming laundry list ito mga kaibigan ang ipinropose ng ating bagong Pangulo. At isa dito, siyempre, may tatanong niyo siyempre, anong mangyayari sa ating border security now na pinatigil muna itong, like for example, itong of course controversial wall dito po sa ating southern border. Ano po naman, attorney, ang proposal ng bagong Pangulong Biden regarding sa ating border security?
Yes, he's also asking for additional funds for the border security. Not necessarily the building of the wall, but it's more of high technology and including the resources to supplement yung existing border security natin and its infrastructure. Most likely siguro mga add additional manpower sa border. So malaking bagay din to avoid people just crossing the border, every day, right? And a lot of people are sort of taking advantage of that, ginagawang business nila, tinatawag na coyote, helping people to cross the border to be able to come to the US. So hopefully, approval din ng Kongreso yan para ma-avoid or ma-prevent natin yung paglabas-pasok ng mga kababayan natin from the southern border.
And speaking about paglabas-pasok nitong mga immigrants, I believe there is a proposal sandwiched within this comprehensive immigration reform to address the root cause of immigration, or migration from their countries. Medyo bigyan nyo kami, attorney, ng konting background dito sa proposal na ito ni Pangulong Biden.
Yeah, if you recall, during Obama and even President Trump, and even before Biden was inaugurated, yung tinatawag natin caravan, people crossing, hundreds of people, thousands of people are escaping poverty and persecution from their home country dahil sa corruption, dahil sa kulang na assistance ng kanilang gobyerno, yung lalong-lalo na yung mga nasa southern part ng US, kagaya ng Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, right? Maraming mga drug dealers dyan, or they are in the crossfire, nasa gitna sila ng war between two forces. And not only that, kulang ang assistance ng kanilang gobyerno. So what's the administration's proposal was that instead of encouraging people to come to the US and apply for asylum to escape poverty, of course, to help these countries to combat, or stop corruption. Isang sa mga tulong yan. In fact, patang mga Pilipino, if you recall, marami rin mga aid ang US, just to help out ang kababayan din natin and gobyerno natin, to combat corruption and to what do you call this, to avoid or to yung ma-elevate ang lifestyle ng ating mga kababayan.
And speaking about going into the United States, and some of them are seeking asylum, attorney, give us some light about this proposal under this comprehensive immigration reform proposal ng Pangulong Biden regarding po dito sa asylum, the elimination of the one-year filing deadline to be eligible for asylum. Ano po ito, attorney?
Yes, bago makapag-apply ang isang tao ng asylum. Asylum, Kuya Yo, ito yung process pag-apply ng refugee, or asylum sa Amerika dahil natatakot silang bumalik sa kanilang home country. And because if they're going back to their home country, they'll be persecuted based on their race, religion, political opinion, or political belief, or social group. So yun. But in order for one to be eligible for asylum, they have to file within 1 year from their entry in the U.S. So yung mga nag-overstay to ng more than a year, they are prevented from filing an asylum, right? Unless they have to show extraordinary circumstances beyond their control why they're only filing now. But now with the proposal, they eliminate that. So siguro yung mga kababayan natin na nandito for 10 years at ngayon lang naisip na, eligible para ako mag-apply ng asylum because at one time, yung aking I experience persecution sa aking pamilya at sa aking sarili with this kind of group. So nawawala yun, Kuya Yo. In addition to that, segue ko na rin yung pag-apply ng mga asylum galing sa Nicaragua, El Salvador and other countries, right? During President Trump, hindi sila pwedeng mag-apply sa border, and come to the US. Kasi ang nangyayari nung panahon ni Obama, Kuya Yo, is that if you think that your life is in danger in your home country, pwede sila mag-apply sa border. At kapag nagkaroon sila ng credible fear at ang tawag nito, ang officer dyan sa border determines na kailangan mong tignan yung judge, right? At you need to argue your case before an immigration judge, they let them in the US. Ngayon, naghihintay sila sa labas. So, yung pa sa isang masaklap doon dahil people are escaping persecution from their home country but they're being left dun sa, sa border or sa Mexico to wait for the hearings and wait for the approval. So that also, I think, would be eliminated by the Biden administration.
So, pwede na sila makapasok at dito na ang hintayin ang kanyang...
Correct. Dito na sila hintayin at dito na hintayin yung hearing. Right? And if the judge says you're denied, then of course they have to go. But if they are here and wait for the hearing, they're able to, may mga pamilya sila dito, reunited with their family and hopefully be able to obtain work authorization.
And speaking about the immigration courts, the judges, I believe there's also a proposal to improve the immigration courts. And of course, malaking tulong ito, especially dahil napakarami nating backlogs. Ano po ba ang proposal ng Pangulong Biden regarding the immigration courts?
Yes, so appoint more immigration judges. I've been advocating the increase of immigration judges, Kuya Yo, dahil panahon ni Obama, ang waiting time before the final court, Kuya Yo, is about 2 to 5 years. You could just imagine yung waiting time niyan. In panahon ni Trump, ganun din, medyo matagal din dahil, maraming mga judges ang nagre-retire or nagre-resign or, talagang maraming backlog. Despite the fact na the Trump administration really wanted to implement yung expeditious removal or deportation. But also, with the present administration giving more judges, hopefully, mapapa-expedite yung mga cases at kung may magandang relief, of course, mabibigyan sila kaagad ng kanilang green card.
Ayun. Attorney, isa sa mga things that struck me with this proposals ng ating bagong Pangulo, ito po bang, alam niyo, if you've, guys, kayong mga nanonood at nakikinig sa PHLV Radio, if you've ever read any immigration law or any immigration ruling or any immigration thing, mapapansin nyo na ang tawag sa mga hindi pa naturalized citizens or hindi citizen ng Amerika ay alien. At syempre, bago sa pandinig natin ito, especially sa ating mga Pilipino, pag una nilang napapakinggan ito, ang tawag sa atin ay alien. In fact, there is such a number na A-something because you are regarded as an alien. Isa sa mga proposals ng Pangulong Biden sa kanyang comprehensive immigration reform ay ang palitan ang kataga o ang word na alien sa mga immigration documents. Attorney, bigyan niyo po kami ng update regarding dito sa exciting at kakaibang proposal na ito.
Yes, Kuya Yo, ang Immigration and Nationality Act, at lahat ng mga immigration laws and books refers to a non-citizen as alien, right? So, and also some courts refer them as alien. But since we are advocating more humane and human, proposals, we prefer yung non-citizen. Kasi parang alien, you're out of the, you're not from this universe, right? Or you're not from this, from the earth, right? And then, it's kind of degrading pag sinabi mong alien, but the reality is that's what the Immigration and Nationality Act, that was enacted, 1940s or 50s. So until now, I think non-citizen is more appropriate, Kuya Yo. Kasi, as we mentioned, it's more humane at hopefully mabibigyan sila eventually ng status sa United States and become a citizen.
Mm-hmm. So abangan nyo mga kaibigan whatever happens to this proposal na para hindi na po matatawag na alien ang mga hindi citizens kung hindi.
Yes, we advise our attorneys here in the firm, right, ever since Kuya Yo, that we don't call our clients alien or even making a legal brief, right, or arguments before immigration courts or appellate courts. We refer to them as non-citizens already. And also, instead of using the alien, we also call them on their last name. So Mr. De La Cruz, instead of alien, appeals the case. So we say Mr. De La Cruz, who is a non-citizen, citizen of the Philippines, right? So we call them by their last names instead of saying alien, which the government, obviously, they prefer to use the alien word when they address, the respondents in court or preparing for their legal briefs.
Okay, so malalaman natin kung anong mangyayari dito sa mga proposals na ito. Well, just to remind our listeners again, these are proposals and syempre legislation, marami pang mga debate at kung ano-ano pang kailangan mangyari para maging batas ang mga ito. Kaya manatili pong nakatutok sa immigration law on your side because we will give you a blow-by-blow update kung ano po ang mga mangyayari sa mga proposals na ito. Nako, medyo mahaba-haba, attorney, itong listahan na ito. I'm sure marami pang iba na very interesting na pag-uusapan and we're just into the first few days of the new administration. I'm sure there will be a lot more that will be breaking. So makakaasa po kayo mga kababayan na ibibigay po sa atin ni Attorney Diza ang mga updates na yan dito sa immigration law on your side. And manatili din po nakatutok not only sa PHLV Radio but sa mga social media pages po ng Reeves Immigration Law Group para mapanood at makita ang mga updates na ito. Well, Attorney, at this point, I'll give you the floor to address our audience at this time para po sa ating law firm, sa Reeves Immigration Law Firm.
Maraming salamat, Johan. At as you mentioned, there might be many updates in immigration, right? And we are here to update you at PHLV Radio Immigration Law on your side every Wednesday. And also check our website at Reeves Immigration Law Group. We also give you an update and immigration news. Subscribe to our Facebook page at Reeves Immigration Law Group and FJ Diza, U.S. Immigration Attorney. We have also other social media accounts, Twitter and Instagram. Follow us so that you'll be updated on immigration laws in the United States. Yun lang, Kuya Yo, at sana po keep on patronizing and listening to PHLV Radio. Maraming salamat.
Nako, maraming salamat po, Attorney Diza, for your time. I'm sure you're very busy. Nakikita nyo nasa opisina si Attorney Diza at busy po. At tumawag lang po kayo sa opisina ni Attorney Diza. We'll put the information on the screen again para po makatawag kayo kay Attorney Diza ngayon po sa mga concerns nyo regarding immigration. So nanggagaling po dito sa PHLV Radio Studio sa Las Vegas, at si Attorney Diza naman po ay nandiyan sa San Francisco Bay Area sa California, dito sa Amerika. Ito po si Kuya Yo, nagpapasalamat po sa inyo sa patuloy niyong pakikinig at pagtutok sa immigration law on your side, hatid po sa atin ng Reeves Immigration Law Group. We will see you next week again dito sa Immigration Law on your side, dito lamang po sa PHLV Radio. Maraming salamat po. Thank you po, Attorney.
Thank you. Take care, John.
Reeves Immigration Law Group has just brought you Immigration Law on Your Side. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific on PHLV Radio.